On today's review panel, we're joined by Drew Rosener, Shane Cultra, and Ammar Kubba. We discuss some strategy changes all three of them have made with regards to how many and what types of extensions to buy surrounding domain names. We discuss hyphenated domains. And at the end of the show, we get into a great conversation about the best domain Drew Rosener has ever owned. Enjoy the show. Hey Sherpa Network, I'm Tess Diaz, executive producer of DomainSherpa.com, and today we're doing the DomainSherpa review. This is the show where we get into the minds of successful domain name investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become better investors ourselves. We will do our usual 3 segments to the review. First, learning what the Sherpas recently bought or sold. Next, we'll discuss in value an investor-submitted domain name portfolio. And finally, we'll preview some domains going to auction soon at NameJet.com and whether the Sherpas think they're a good investment opportunity for you. Joining us today on the Domain Sherpa Review are 3 past Sherpas and industry thought leaders. We have Ammar Kubba, domain name investor, serial entrepreneur, and angel investor. Hello, Ammar. How you doing?
Great. Thank you.
Where in the world are you today?
Just got to LA last night, so hanging out in Santa Monica, Airbnb, having fun.
Nice. And you are so devoted. You just flew in last night from where?
Actually from Vegas.
Okay.
So not too far.
Yeah. Nice. A shorter trip this time.
Yeah, West Coast.
That's really, we love that you take the time to be here. Shane Cultra of DSAD.com and also nurseryman extraordinaire. What you got in the background there?
Christmas tree, of course. It'd be a sin for me not to have a Christmas tree out. Not decorated by me though. That's my wife's doing.
All right.
I bring the tree, set it up, and then she decorates. But if you'll notice, it's only white. It's no colors, no nothing. It's only white.
That's how my wife would like it as well.
Yeah, clean.
We
She
actually
loves
got a
things
tree
clean.
and haven't decorated anything.
A quick story. I
So
took a
it's
picture.
just dropping needles and doing nothing.
Well, this one, of course, Country Arbor's trees don't drop needles, but I know that some do. I've heard.
My grandma loved strawberries, and she she had a strawberry themed kitchen. And one year she did her whole Christmas tree in strawberry decorations. It was really cute.
Grandma.
I like your monochromatic theme. And Andrew Rosener, CEO of Media Options, Domain Names as a Service. I still love your background. How you doing, Drew?
I'm doing.
All right. That's
Feeling
where
slightly
we're
like
at.
a homeless man.
A homeless man with Wi-Fi.
A homeless man with Wi-Fi.
And a backdrop.
And some nice headphones.
Yes.
And a spa 10 steps away
These
from
headphones. These headphones are all I have to show for the innumerable pain and suffering that I was put through by Apple when my computer completely just shit the bed. That was, $6,000 laptop shit the bed, a few months old, lost all my data, and they gave me headphones, made everything better again.
There you go. And now you can listen to your Apple Music subscription.
Exactly.
Yeah, well played, Apple. Well played.
Well played.
All right, let's do this. So
What up, Josefina?
what?
You're on. Drew says hi.
Oh, you have headphones on. I didn't know I couldn't see that you had headphones on. I thought she could maybe hear me.
Yeah.
But she can.
And I wasn't looking at the video. I was looking at what I have to say next. And I'm like, what is he screaming? Ammar.
I just have
So
outbursts.
that was a brief cameo by Ammar's wife, Josephine. How is she doing at DN Academy in her studies?
She's done with that. So she's, so she's not really doing too much on stuff. She just kind of helps me, and we talk about domains a lot, but she's not like actively doing anything herself on it. She just kind of, we talk, as you can imagine, we talk a lot about domains.
Well, they
We
don't have if it's a normal wife of a domain investor, that's not a choice.
Right, exactly. Yeah, she has no choice. Like literally, we were at lunch the other day and I thought of a name and I'm like, and I'll always, if I'm driving or if I'm doing something else, I'm like, babe, look this up. And she'll look it up. And we hand reg 2 names the other day, which I actually think have value. So keep in mind, these are hand regs, but we got self-sees. So like, and self-vs, like, so plural selfies, right? Like they don't have a word for selfies that have more than one person.
Selfie thesis.
Right, exactly. So it's selfie, but adding an S in the middle. So self-see.
Have you been hanging around too long on Name Pros or something? Like,
no, listen, you'll see. I checked. It actually has hashtags. I checked to see people do hashtag with the V and with the S actually, but the proper spelling would be like it's ourselves, and we're taking selfies. Anyway, they're hand regs. I bet you I can sell them.
oh, wait, there's like a sell V, and then it's like a video selfie or something, right?
Well, I was
I think
just.
we,
It's
I
like
think we actually own the
more
singular.
than
I think
one
we
person.
own sellv.com or something.
You do?
I think so. Let me check.
Well, we have the plural of it.
Nice. What do you think?
And my singular trumps your plural every day.
Oh,
Let's see. Hold on. Sell V. I think we do.
But I
own
guarantee
this.
you didn't
I
pay
do.
$8 for it.
Boom. SELVIE.
Okay.
and
So-
when was that registered, Drew? Like how?
Registered that in 2015. Thank you very much.
Wow. So I mean, this is
Wait,
interesting.
was it a hand
4
reg?
years, no one else
Hand
knows.
reg 2015, February.
Okay, there you go.
At least
Wow.
you think alike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like 4 years ahead, but yeah,
Oh.
you can make yourself feel
Someone else
good.
owned it, let it expire, and then you got it.
Yeah, well,
Also possible.
anyway.
I don't think
So
I
the
actually hand
point
read that.
is-
It's possible though. I some reason I feel like I might have, but I probably didn't.
Yeah, the point is we
Very
talk
rare
a
that I
lot
hand
about
read something.
stuff, even if she's not actively doing anything. We
Yeah.
do talk a lot of domain stuff.
Okay, I got it.
Ammar, I love your
on
focus.
Yeah.
Selvie.com, SELVIE. Got that for $554 on Drop Catch in February 19th, 2015. So somebody registered it before, and I bought it for $500.
I'll take the 12 or the 8. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
I'd still rather have the
you're
singular.
still alive and well, even with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I like. Josephine and Ammar and I sat for 3 hours and discussed a shower cap business one night. It was fantastic. I mean, it just, you find somebody that's thinking like you, and of course add a couple beers to it. And it was, by the end of the day, we had totally cornered the shower cap market.
I still think there's an opportunity there. But I really do want to do something like that, test out that kind of business. But now I've moved on to rubber duckies. So I've been buying up duck names. So we have Just Ducky. The other day I got Duck Squad. I've been buying up ducky names because I think there's an opportunity to do bespoke duckies, like make a Shane and a Drew and a Tess.
Like bobbleheads.
Bubble duck.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it.
Bobble Duck. Do you have bobbleduck.com?
No.
You got to get bobbleduck.com. How cool would it be to, take a rubber ducky and put a bobblehead on top of a ducky?
You better do it before Monday or Hayes will have it.
It's like you got rubber ducky, proven winner, bobbleheads, proven winner. Put a bobblehead on a ducky.
You
Should be a proven
immediately know
winner.
what it is.
A bubble duck.
Yeah.
Bobble duck. I'm registering it. Who's faster? Ready? Ready?
Let's do a
1, 2, 3,
competition.
go.
Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. Bobbleduck.com. Let's see.
I'll let him
Boom.
spend.
Check out.
Drew didn't actually register it. He emailed me and told me to register it.
Hell no. $8.47 later. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, actually, hold on. Boom. BobbleDuck.com.
What are you going to sell that for?
I don't know. It depends on what Ammar's going to pay me.
Not much. Not much.
Okay.
Once I have my duck empire, then we'll talk.
Duckpire?
Oh, there you go.
Duckpire.
I
Or
think Duck Empire?
Shane, we can do shower caps for the rubber duckies, or shower caps that match your rubber ducky.
No, rubber duckies with a shower cap with a little rubber ducky on top.
There are so many opportunities here.
Love it. Okay. What's new, Sherpas? I want to know something you recently bought or sold that is not one of the domains we just discussed. Ammar, you're first. What's an actual quality domain that you've actually bought or sold in the last few weeks?
So I just sold. I've sold a few, but I think this is a good one. Betterandbetter.com.
Oh, interesting. Betterandbetter.com. Just the kind of like phrase everybody knows. I like it.
Right.
All right. Who's gonna guess what he sold it for?
I'll go. Betterandbetter.com, a sale. I assume it's going to be a marketing name. I guess it could be a company, but I would say marketing. So I'll say 6,500. I feel like he was feeling generous, and I'll just say 6,500.
6,500?
Yeah.
Oh, 6,500. Okay.
6,500.
Drew?
Yeah.
Okay, 6,500. Drew, what do you think?
Better and better. I'm going to say $9,888.
All right.
Okay. Tess?
Oh, I'm guessing betterandbetter.com. I actually like 6,500, something like that. I think, I don't know. I'll go with 5,900. Just, I don't know. Got to bury it up.
Okay. 18.5 was the sale price.
Wow,
Okay.
nice. Better and
It was
better.
an end user. I could have gotten more, but I was feeling generous, as Shane said. I actually, this is a case where I got on the phone with a guy to close the deal, and I liked him. He was nice. He was very candid and just a nice guy. I just felt good. I'm like, okay, let's just do it. Yeah.
So you're saying you're a pussy?
I'm saying I actually did. I could have gotten more, but I just said, okay, let's just do it. 18.5.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to demonstrate to you, this is why we bring Ammar on the show. This is why you hire a domain broker, because you let these soft emotions get in the way of profit-seeking behaviors, which is what we're all here for.
We are here for profit, but we're also here to make the world better and better.
Better and better. Better and better. No, I agree. I actually think that leaving a little meat on the
better
bone,
and better.
as a general rule, leaving a little meat on the bone is just a good policy to keep things moving.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't think anybody would argue that 18.5 is bad.
Yeah, make everybody feel. I mean, that's more than double what any of us, triple what he guessed, double what I guessed. So you're already way in the money.
Yeah, because if you'd have hired a broker, he'd have said 9,500 is a good number, and then taken his percentage.
Exactly.
Have you gotten offers on that name over the years?
I actually have had that name less than a year.
Yeah, I remember you bought that on. I was in an auction for that name. I remember when that name expired, or somebody sold it. I don't know.
It was definitely it was an auction. I don't remember which GoDaddy or Dropcatch, or could have been NameJet. I don't know, but I bought it earlier this year.
So did you get other offers for it, or this was the better?
This was the best offer. Yeah. I think I had maybe gotten one offer, two offers for it, but nothing in this range. And it really was, it's one of those names. I like those kind of names, positive names that are super brandable. So I liked that name actually, and that's why I was asking a lot. I think most people probably would have priced it in the 5K range, maybe up to 10, but I had it priced at 25, and I was fine with that. I wouldn't have been upset if I didn't sell it. So that's also, you know, one of the lessons learned here. If you're not emotionally, you know, if you don't care about selling it so much, you'll generally get a better price.
Okay. I see you bought it less than a year ago. I'm on namebio.com. You bought it January 26th of this year at GoDaddy for $575. So how did you get him on the phone versus, you know, just email? You had it listed for 25K.
Yeah. So he had inquired, and actually his business partner had inquired. These were two successful founders who had already sold their company. So this was their second go round. And so I did my homework. I saw who, you know, that I figured out that these are who I thought they were, and it turned out to be them. But it was the business partner that initially inquired, but he didn't want to get on the phone. So then he had his other partner get on the phone with me, and we just had a couple of calls, and we got it done, I think, over 2, maybe 3 calls. Just kind of talked and, you know, just develop rapport, and he was a nice guy, and I was being reasonable, and we just made a deal.
Yeah.
So it was pretty easy. Once we talked, it really did help to kind of get on the phone. And I will tell you what I think convinced him. He came at me with the, you know, their number, the valuation that they put on the number. It was a very precise valuation. It was $5,445, I believe. And I was like, how did you come up with that number? And they kind of triangulated, and they initially started with the GoDaddy valuation, and which I was surprised it was even in that range. But it was in the thousands, like several, you know, like it might have been 4 or 5K. And then they factored in a few other things, and then they came up with that very specific number, and that's what they offered. And I told him, I'm like, no, that's not going to work. And what I think was the most compelling argument for him was how many other extensions it was registered in. So I think that's a really strong indicator of value. And that's for people that don't understand domain names, you can use that. I think that kind of resonates, that makes sense to them. Like, oh, I told them, for instance, it was registered in 60 other extensions, I think. So I said there are at least 50 or 60 other people who find this domain valuable, who find this phrase valuable. So that shows you, and you're getting .com, which is the most valuable of all of them. So I said, you know, and that resonated with him, and he understood that. And like I said, we just kind of talked through it, and then he said, okay, let's do it.
Good for you.
But I find that to be pretty compelling.
It's funny because it's such a easy to manipulate variable, right? Because the .com owner can just go register 10 other extensions,
right,
and then, you know, for a moderate incremental cost, you have a legitimate argument. But, you know, I've kind of switched my view on doing that. Like, if I had a good .com that I really liked, I always wanted to have the net, the org, and any other extensions that I could get my hands on. And today, I think the opposite, because, you know, it's like our core, I would say a very large component of the people who come to us to acquire a name that either we own or we're brokering, so inbound inquiries, is people looking to upgrade from the .net, the .org, the .co, .io, .ai, .whatever, right? And so in some sense, I think, you know, there's 2 sides to that. It's like, on the one hand, it's like, let people have one of these lesser extensions, leave it available, because let them go build a business so that when the business is successful, they need to come and upgrade to the .com. And if you basically expunge the whole namespace, then you're not allowing like a low level entry point into that namespace that could be a future customer. And so then you're limited to customers that already are established and have that name and whatever domain they're on. And, you know, now they've got to come in and say, you know,
and even
there's
more
less
valuable,
opportunity for upgrades.
but even
Well,
more
yes.
valuable are the social media handles. Rather than have the .net, they would much rather have the Twitter handle and,
Oh, yeah,
and
for sure.
Instagram handle, especially if it's a one word or a tough word to get.
Right. And so, so to both of your points, actually, for some of my better names, I've been trying to get the social media handles. And like I just got for Tokenize, I just got @Tokenize on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
It's supposed to be getting me the Insta and the Medium and a few of the big ones. So I'm happy about that. But to your point, Drew, I agree with you 100%. I want somebody to pick up one of the lesser extensions and build it out. But what I am doing on a few key names, if the .co is available or the .io, sometimes I'll get those two, but I'm not getting the nets or any of the other ones because I do want them I want somebody to grab those and build them out. And if they're available when somebody on my comm, I'll actually point them to that and I'll say, look, you can go get that right now for $10. I actually will tell them and I'll send them a link and I'm like, go get it, it's available. In a lot of cases I'll do that, but for the really premium one-worders, if I can pick up the matching, you know, .co especially, and in some cases .io, if it makes sense, I'll get it because I feel like, you know, that there is value in having both, right? Just kind of, it's a nice, neat package. Or actually, the ones I'm really getting, I tried to get a bunch of matching ones are the .apps. So,
so basically, you're saying you get the names where you think they'd feel comfortable starting a business and do it so that they can.
Right? No. .app goes well with the .com. It's
but in general, a lot of startups feel comfortable in a .io and .co. So take that away. They don't feel quite as comfortable as going on the .nets and the other ones.
Okay, you can look at it.
It's a fair statement.
Yeah.
I think .app is worthless. I really do. I really don't see any reason for .app. And I'm not like there are new GTLDs that I have appreciation for. .app, not one of them.
But I'll tell you, it's a nice compliment to a strong one-word .com to have the matching .app.
It's just similar to a social media handle. Yeah.
I think. I
think it's a nice compliment if you've got the .co. I think it's a nice compliment if you got the .net. But it's like if you've got the .com, you don't need anything else. Period. It's like you know, even if let's get out of our domainer hats, and you're a business owner, and you know, I used to be of the mindset that let's say I don't know, whatever, Rosener, I'm a law firm. Well, that's a bad example because if you're like a financial services, legal, if you've got sensitive information, you just want to tie it up. But let's say, I don't know, I'm some
Rosener Seafood. Right?
Yeah. And so, you know, do I mind if somebody's out there building a business on the .net, the .org, the .co? If I've got an active business on the .com? No, really not. I mean, if there was some way that they could be diluting my brand, then sure. But for the most part, they're just driving eyeballs, even if it's unrelated. It's like they're just driving awareness, they're driving eyeballs, they're driving traffic. You know, I don't know.
No, that's an interesting. Like I said, I do have that same view for a lot of the other TLDs. Like I'm happy to have somebody build on them. I'll even drive them there. But for some reason, like the .co especially, I like if I can get the matching .co more than the .co even. I generally try to get it.
Yeah. For the .co also makes a lot of sense from a security standpoint because ultimately it's a typo.
Yeah.
So real quick over to social media handles. Now it's my understanding, and first of all, you know, none of us are lawyers or anything or giving legal advice. Sorry. And
actually, Ammar is a lawyer.
I know, that's why I
I'm
changed
still
it.
not providing legal advice.
Yeah. We are not legally liable or giving advice. But
Although he will give you like advice.
yeah, what's the deal with social media handles? Because I thought you're not allowed to sell them. So do you give them for free with the domain name, or
It's like the military's policy on homosexuality. It's like don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah. I've only bought businesses that happen to own the handle. I've never purchased just the handle. Always happen to buy the business entity. It just happens to come with it.
Yep.
okay? All
And
right.
big names are buying it because I don't know if I've told the story here, but I was trying to buy @run on Instagram, and the numbers got pretty high. And when it was all said and done, it was low. Well, not that low of 5 figures. And it was purchased. I got beat out by a New York marketing firm. So a New York marketing firm owns @run, and they're using it as a business model, just that account. Maybe it ties to other things, but it's worth it to them. And it's, it's a strong Instagram. If you have a lot of followers, it's a business. I think they're releasing today a new way to shop and making it even easier to shop than it is now. And shopping's pretty easy at this point. So,
Yeah.
It's a whole, I'm not saying it's taken away from domains, but there's definitely a business model being made so that you don't need anything more than Instagram to sell. Now, of course, where do you go when you buy the stuff? To a website.
Right.
Yeah.
But having a strong social handle definitely is a good complement to your web presence.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Let's move on. Who is next on what you recently bought or sold? Shane.
I got nothing. This was my conversation. I feel like I've been on the show every week, so I literally haven't done anything last week at all. I sold Christmas trees and tweeted stupidly constantly.
All right. Hey, Drew, since you
do you charge more than 100? How much do you charge for your, like, let's say, 6, 7
a
foot?
6-footer's $59.95 or 7-footer, and $100 like $125.
That I'm being raped here. I just paid 120 euros for a very sparse.
That's
and
because I had to ship it all the way over there.
Attractive. No, I grow them here. We got pine trees everywhere. But it's like 120 euros. I mean, most things here, I would say, are a fraction of the price in the US. But man, Christmas trees, they got you 120 euros for probably 7 foot, but sparse. It's got literally 30% at best of the branches that you've got.
Yeah, that's not a fake tree, man. That's a real.
That's like, that's like painted. That's like perfect tone. Yeah. No empty spots. Can't see the trunk anywhere.
And it's a type called Fraser that literally will not lose a needle until January, and that's put up in November. That's just. But it's got to be the way they grow or the space. North Carolina.
I'm getting in the Christmas tree business.
Yeah, there's Christmas tree money. I'm telling you.
Do you have any domains related to your Christmas tree business?
I don't. The funny thing is I have them and I forward them to the. I mean, I own the world's worst Christmas name. I own Christmas.cc.
We actually have ChristmasTrees.com for sale. Literally.
Man, that's the whole Christmas tree rental market, especially where Ammar is in LA. That's a huge thing where you take the tree and then you bring it back to them when it's all said and done.
Oh, they have that here too.
Yeah, that's a huge market. That's the kind that you would build on Christmas trees. But I imagine the price is maybe inhibits the cost of that model. You'd have to sell a lot of trees to pay for that domain.
I can't imagine the margins are good on that model. I mean, you got to deliver, it's just,
it's not. And the Christmas trees in general are grown in areas that you can't grow anything else, and you just grow them to cut them down. It's a sustainable replanting. Can't grow. There's nothing you can grow on those mountains in North Carolina than Christmas trees. So it's sustainability. It's much better than plastic trees. I don't know if it's better than the return model in a pot, but it's almost close. Because you compost it up and you throw it in the ground. It sounds like a salesman, doesn't it? You just compost it, gives back, grow more.
You just amortize the domain. Don't worry, it's $5 million. You just amortize that over 10 years. Don't worry about it.
Is that what is ChristmasTrees.com go for?
Huh? No, Christmas. I just emailed him. I don't remember. He told me the price. And, hold on. I mean, I didn't really look that hard. I pulled up one email and said, "Hey, what's the price?"
It's great too, because I'd say 20% of, it's probably exaggerating, but 10% of my clients are probably non-Christian, or the Christmas tree is just a symbol of the time period
of the holidays.
The holidays, yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty sure this guy said 25 grand, but I don't know.
That's not terrible.
Wait, we should be guessing. What are we doing?
Yeah, no, I think that's.
I mean, 25 grand, I probably could pull off, but I doubt it's that cheap.
No, I do. I think that's where it was at. But it's a once a year thing. It's a once a year thing.
Christmas is a once a year thing. People do pretty well with it.
Yeah. But Christmas is, Christmas trees, gifts. Da, 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 da.
I mean, but I'm a little small town nursery that can do 6 figures in Christmas trees. So
that's true. That's true.
You put it together, and that's not hard to monetize.
That's true.
That's a lot.
That's true.
Well,
You know what you do is you build a network of the Christmas tree guys, and people just order it and it's just delivered. They don't even have to know who they're buying it from.
100%. No, there's
you guarantee that it's a
there.
local tree. Guarantee local trees.
Yep.
Ooh, I'm in. You and me. Let's go. I'm in.
Yep. We just
and
built
they're
a
wearing
business.
shower caps when they
Because I need more projects. I don't have enough.
Yeah, I know. That's what. Michael Seiger and I, we talk, and then we're like, nah, we don't want to do it. Great idea. I don't have 5 minutes. I don't even really want to take an extra long shower. I have.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe that's because you don't have a rubber ducky with you.
Yeah. Or a shower.
Ducky.
I don't have a
Bobble
Cleveland
ducky.
Brown shower cap or something.
Okay, Drew, what did you recently buy or sell?
Okay, I'm going to go with htf.com, a 3-letter.com.
Okay, Harry
Frank.
Harry Thomas Frank, htf.com. Bought or sold?
Hairy toes and feet. Bought htf.com.
Okay.
Who's first?
You go.
You open your big mouth.
I don't know. I'm really not good with the 3-letter names. So I'm going to guess you bought it. I'm going to guess 25K.
Yeah, that's a problem with 3 letters is they're all over the board. And then, as I always say, Drew comes up with, you don't understand, that stands for the Henry Thomas Federation, which is the most popular billionaire society. I think it's more than that. I mean, they've settled a little bit. F is not this. No, that's probably pretty close. I'll say 32. Just he'll have some reason why it's worth a little more.
So I paid actually right in the middle, 28. But I actually do think that it's worth a lot more because it's like, the hand to face. It's HDF. So it's like a massive, it's like huge, like social media, HTF, it's actually got a few things. So it's how the fuck, like, like what the fuck is WTF? HTF is how the fuck, like how the fuck did he do that? And then it's hand to face, like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened.
I think
so. It's like, Brazilian memes
duck
and
is better, dude.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have better luck with a Harry.
I think
I really
will probably work out better.
I like 3 letters that have like cool sort of, cultural meanings. Like I bought btd.com, which is buy the dip. HTF. I don't know. We got a bunch. I don't know.
I like HTF, hard to find.
Hard to find also.
In terms of actual monetary value, that might be more valuable.
Oh, snap. ChristmasTrees.com wrote back. He sold it.
Oh, did he tell you how much?
Nope.
I didn't even type it in. Let's see if
whatever, Shane, you just bought it, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. I just sold it to some farmer. Actually, a student from Urbana. Balsam Hill Christmas trees. Got it. Yeah.
You know who they are?
Yeah, I mean, I know of them, but
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Are they? They're
That
a
was
player.
Yeah, they're millions and millions of dollars. Yeah. Good for them. I mean, it's just forwards, but still, it's an online Christmas tree, artificial Christmas tree business.
Oh no way! An artificial guy got this.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Polluting the landfills.
Land.
I can smell the Balsam Hill methane coming from the landfill.
oh man! Somebody should put these guys out of their misery.
That sounds terrible.
Looks like Christmas.cc it is.
Drew, where did you acquire htf.com?
Good question. I don't know. I don't know. I forget, actually.
Do you have any story about negotiating the price? Anything else?
Negative.
Just
Negative. I think it was offered to me at 35 and I bought it for 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Not the most dramatic story, but we'll take it. Thanks, guys. Let's take a moment. I'll tell you about our advertisers for today's show who support us in this educational mission for the domain industry.
First, serious about online trading? Secure your funds, keep your merchandise safe, and use a company that keeps the buyer and seller protected the whole way through. That's escrow.com. Payments you can trust.
All right. In the domain portfolio review, we take user-submitted domain name portfolios and provide honest and constructive feedback to the owners so they can either cut their losses, continue to hold them long-term, or figure out a sales strategy going forward. Today's portfolio is from Chuck G. He does have a couple questions along with it. They are primarily hyphenated domains. So we have—
Isn't Chuck G one of the Beastie Boys?
No, that's Chuck D of Public Enemy.
Chuck D. Yeah.
Wrong band, wrong guy.
Yeah.
But if you would like to wrap your responses, I think Chuck G and Chuck D would really appreciate it. Let me get you guys started a little bit, and then we'll talk about his questions. Definitely, he needs some clarity on if hyphenated names are worth keeping. And so for everybody who's listening on the podcast, I'll just say we have a few one-word or two .coms, a chew.com, corvettes.net, telecounseling.com, videocounseling.com. Then we have a number of e-jukebox.com, e-doctor.com. And then we have some that are every single letter has a hyphen, like racing.com. So it's R-A-C-, you get it. So definitely some questions about hyphenated values. So Shane, what are your thoughts here for Chuck?
Worthless. I mean, unless you're German and you have .de, there seem to be the only people that regularly sell a hyphen name seems to be Germany. They don't mind it nearly as much. But I could go and register tons of hyphen names that have more value, but you're still not going to sell them. Even Corvettes.net, I'm not sure that Chevrolet or Chevy would allow you to build anything of value without trademark infringement. I don't know how they feel about fan clubs. Sometimes I let fan club stuff go by, but I just don't. I don't think, as a user, I do agree that maybe they wouldn't understand that why can't you, as long as people know to type that in, but it's just too hard to brand, and it's a leftover type of marketing, like when there's nothing left. And then so you're going to radio, come to e-clinics.com. I just don't think that is a good way to go. So I see no value here at all, especially DNA. Now here's your radio. Type in d-n-a.com. It just gets ridiculous. So I'm not sure who or what he talked to. And of course, we all need to talk to people before we register stuff. Even Ammar is talking to Josephine when he's talking about his ducks and his Selvies. He had to double check with someone, and he's one of the best domainers in the world, and he still asked somebody before he gets crazy. So I can't support this. I really think he needs to think it over. He doesn't think it's bad because he substituted, or he sent it in for us to look at it, so he's not quite sure. And I just looked and saw racing. I forgot he's got even further. Can you imagine the whole commercial would be telling your domain name at the end of the commercial because it takes 15 seconds to say it out loud. So I just don't have anything positive to say. I think Ammar is the only one we have a chance on this panel to give anything positive from this. So I'm going to let him say his words.
Drew, your turn.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, there's just no real value here. I think, telecounseling.com, that's not a bad name. I mean, it is an industry. There's just no search really for it. But, telemedicine in general is a very fast growing field. There's a ton of money going into it. It makes a lot of sense that, counseling and therapy would be some component of that. And so telecounseling.com, I think, is a very reasonable name. And, I don't think it's got a lot of liquid value, but I think, I'd probably price at it 15 grand or something, 25 grand, and just sort of hope for the best. I don't think any of these other names really have any value. I'd probably keep D-N-A just cause, but also with very little expectation of ever actually selling it. I think we actually sold way a long time ago. We had N-A-K-E-D, like naked. And I think we actually sold that. But it was probably for a few $100. So I don't think there's really any value here. But I'd certainly keep D-N-A just cause, like I said. Corvettes.net, you're in a bind, man. You can't really sell that. You can't really do anything with it. Is it really worth to go build a fan club? Because the moment you monetize that fan club, you're now infringing on the trademark. So, I don't know. I'd probably skip that. And then telecounseling, definitely a hold. It's not a let go. But everything else, I think you just let it go. You just, 86.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would agree with, I would drop most of the hyphen names. I'd say there's probably, I'd probably hold on to E-doctor and E-doctors, and maybe E-clinics. I don't think there's a lot of value, but I probably wouldn't drop those. In Europe,
when was the last time you let a name drop?
I've been dropping. I've been
starting. Yeah? Okay.
You're right. I'm done. I generally hate, in the past, I've hated to drop names because I thought I saw value in that name at some point. So it's hard for me to admit that I was wrong.
Yeah.
But I've dropped more names in the last year than I've probably ever dropped. And
how's that working out for you in your marriage with not being able to admit that you're wrong?
I've also admitted I'm wrong more in the last year than I ever have. So I would probably drop a bunch of them, or most of them. But like I said, I'd probably hold on to the doctors and clinics, maybe even the E-RX. But the rest, I don't see having a lot of value. As Shane
we used to own ERX.com. We sold that a while ago.
In Europe, you see a lot of hyphenated domains. You definitely, they're not averse to them there.
But do you know why? Because they don't want to pay. European companies, for the most part, don't want to pay to buy the good domains.
Right.
So
no.
Do you want to be buying domains for a market that is buying, some whatever bastardized version of the domain,
right?
Purely because they don't want to pay for the good ones. So it's like,
sure,
you're already limiting.
Right, you already have a problem. But the other thing is, most of the hyphenated names that I've seen are two-worders. So,
Yeah.
Even if they're not averse to the hyphenated names, these aren't the ones they'd be buying, right? So they're not going to be, because an E whatever is already one step removed from the generic, and now you're adding an E and a hyphen, so you're two steps removed. So, for instance, E-doctor, right? What you really want is doctor. Now you have E-doctor, and now you have E-doctor. So, so that's a problem. So what I would probably do, depending on how much time he has left on these registrations, is just price them. The really crappy ones, I'd price at $100 or a couple of $100, just to pray that somebody will buy it in the registration pack at GoDaddy. And then I would hold on to the telecounseling, video counseling. I don't even know if that's the right spelling for Achu. I didn't take the time to look it up. If it is, I guess I'd probably hold on to that. And then, most likely, like I said, try to sell the other ones really, really cheap. And if not, then drop them, and don't spend that money for another year invested in, some better names. When they're coming up, right? There's 25 names here. So that's at least $250 that you can go and spend on something much better.
Okay. Achu.com, what would you guys list it for?
Is that the right spelling?
I don't
Is
know.
that a sneeze?
I mean, is there a right spelling?
Well, I wouldn't put in, it's
onomatopoeia. There's a word for you. Can you spell onomatopoeia?
Onomatopoeia. ANAMAPIA.
There's an O in there somewhere.
So
I would say it's a misspelling.
ANOMANAPIA.
How is it? How is the right? What's the right spelling?
I think the correct, just from I think it's ACHOO is the correct spelling, and this is.
I don't think there's an A. It's first H. Yeah.
CHOO. So Chu. So it's not a bad misspelling, but
it doesn't end up.
But let's just pretend for 1 second that it is the perfect spelling.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe Kleenex would use that as a marketing campaign, but it's like, otherwise, what are you going to do with Achu? It's like,
no, right.
It's like,
right. So I'm not saying it's a $50,000 name if it's the right spelling, but I'm saying if it's the right spelling. I could see.
He bought the hyphenated one too. That's. I don't mind the Achu, but when you register the hyphenated version of it, that's when I say, okay, we're not on the right path.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on Corvettes.net, just like Shane and Drew said, you can't ever monetize that. The best buyer for that would be somebody that's either a collector of Corvettes or somebody that potentially works on them, that maybe fixes them up or whatever. Because in which case, Chevy's not going to be mad. They're like, okay, this guy, he's supporting our brand in essence.
Well, and if you find like an enthusiast, like
he'll buy it as an email for $500.
Yeah, like here, $2,500. You want to be, Bob at Corvettes.net, and he'll be like, oh shit, I just spent $2,500, buying a muffler for my '69 split back, like sure, okay, I'm Bob at Corvettes.net, and now all the guys in my car club are going to think I'm awesome. Right.
Cool. So I wouldn't drop it, but it's you definitely you're very limited in how you can monetize that. Yeah.
Okay. So my biggest takeaway from this segment of the review is domain investors who get married or have a partner in life are more likely to start dropping their domains.
Well, there is some sense of reality.
Among other things.
Yeah, the single domain investors don't have somebody constantly telling them how they mess up each day. I'll give them that.
Right.
Well, okay, but on the other hand, too, I do like you have to justify your expense to someone, and when you say it out loud, and another person's like, "Really?"
Well, when you're single,
feedback is valuable.
Spend on domains. I'll say that.
Yeah, you have more money to spend on them.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Not me. I'd be in a death spiral if I were single.
Yeah. not going to disagree with that.
And ironically, Drew, you must be clairvoyant. It actually was Chuck D, not Chuck G. So who knows? Maybe he is the rapper. We'll see.
Right? See?
Yeah. So before we go to domains going to auction soon, I'd like to tell you about our sponsors who support us in this mission.
FD was built by domain investors to increase your inquiries, sales, and profit. Forget spreadsheets and archived emails. Manage your entire investment portfolio in one place using a secure and completely confidential platform. Learn more at ft.com. That's EFTY, ft.com.
So, NameJet time. I love this section. We're looking at domains heading to auction soon. If you do like the names on the list, click now, because once the auction starts, you can't watch or bid. So there's that. Transparency. You guys own or brokering any of these names?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So Drew, you are up first here. We got a nice list from NameJet.
Mm-hmm.
Pot farming, I fully expect to hear from you on, and a couple others. What stands out to you, Drew?
So I think pot farming is like actually one of the worst names on here, because it's like, so people in the industry don't really say pot, number one. And then what do you do with pot farming? You're gonna like tell people how to farm pot? You know, like, I don't know what the commercial aspect of it is. I mean, I suppose you could like maybe, you know, sell growing equipment, which is a big business, but it's certainly not the ideal name for that. And you've got 5,000 other possibilities, many of which are going to be better. And so I think your potential to sell that name for good prices is pretty limited. But there are some names on here that I really like. I like doortodoor.com a lot. That's my favorite name on the list. I like grocerybags.com a lot too, because, you know, it's in line with the whole sustainable thing, and everybody, you know, wants to have these reusable bags, and some people buy them, some people buy them in the store, but I think that there's probably a pretty solid customized grocery bag business, you know, getting your brand's logo printed on them so you can distribute them to your customers when they come in and make purchases. So I think that that's a pretty cool domain. Whether it's, you know, to sell to somebody who's already in that sort of custom swag business, or start an affiliate business, or, you know, something like Vistaprint. But grocerybags.com, I think it's a pretty cool business, or potential. And door to door is, you know, that's obvious. I like gcube.com. I don't know why. I love the name Cube. I just love the word cube. I just like it like in every capacity. I think you can put like anything in front of cube and it's just cool. So I like GQ, but you know, it's like, what is that worth? I don't know, you know.
Did you say GQ?
G. Let's see. Home protection. You know, it's one of the lowest search volume keywords in this sort of home security space, but it's still a couple, you know, $3 or $4 CPC. It's got a few thousand searches. It's a good domain for an SEM campaign, and it's a hot market. And I don't see home security. You know, I think that's a market that's only going to grow as the world gets more insane. So I think that's a great name, you know, but you don't want to get into that for a lot of money. But if you can get into it for like, you know, a couple grand or better, it's a good name. It's a good name. You'll find a buyer for that eventually. That's pretty much it. I mean, Docking Station is one of these names that I don't love. You know, it's like a lot of search volume, so it seems like it'd be a great name. You know, over 100,000 searches. Certainly, it has value. Certainly, it's a valuable name to an extent, but it's deceiving. It's not worth nearly as much as Estabot tells you or what the numbers might indicate. Number one, it's a pure e-commerce name, and so like you're going to compete with Amazon, you're going to compete with Best Buy, you're going to compete. It's like a docking station. When do people buy docking stations? When they buy their laptop, and if they buy it secondary, then do they go dockingstation.com? I don't think so. And the plural in the case of pure e-commerce plays is more or less better, is better in this case. So yeah, I don't love that name. I think that's one of those false friends, as I say.
Okay. All right. False friends. I do want to say, I see that I emailed you guys a typo. It is not China Cobs. It is ChinaJobs.com on the list.
Only slightly better.
Yes. Ammar, your turn.
So like Drew, my favorite name on the list is Door to Door. I think there's a lot that can be done with that. I would disagree that it's obvious. I think that that's just one of those names that's kind of open-ended and can be a lot of things. Definitely like a transportation company, delivery. I mean, it could be sales. It could just be a lot of things, and I really like it. Very brandable. I also like grocery bags because for the exact same reason as Drew mentioned, that they're starting to ban the plastic bags, and everybody's having to buy reusable bags now. So there's an opportunity there. G-Cube I like, but for exactly why Shane said, it sounds like GQ number one, and then the number two, Google kind of has cornered the market on anythings. So I think you got a potential issue there. Not that they can come after you for that, but I think that limits you a little bit. I like Pet Cafe. I just like anything with pets. It's a huge market, so it's lots of potential buyers there. And Data Burst is not bad. Anything with data is pretty decent. But I don't like pot farming. I don't like gourmet marijuana. I don't like hip hop kicks. Club Vegas I like because I'm in Vegas, number one. Number two, there are places called Club Vegas. You could develop that outside of Vegas because everybody wants to associate themselves with Vegas. So I think that has a lot of potential value. Not when I say a lot of potential value, I say a lot of potential buyers. I don't know how much it would go for, but I think that's a name that would sell for sure. Like if you can get into that at a decent price, and I'll be bidding on that. But I think there's a lot of potential buyers there. Okay.
All right. Good to know. Thanks. All right. Anything we didn't cover? A pet cafe?
Hold on. You skipped me last week. You can't skip me again this week.
No, I'm not wrapping it up. Just first, I thought there were a few more that needed some attention. But okay, Shane, what do you got?
There you go. Okay, good. Last week I didn't get in NameJet. NameJet was totally devastated that they didn't get my opinion on it. It was closed the place down. But no, so what I see here at the NameJet list is what I get in arguments with domain investors all the time. Is huge industries and keywords that represent big things. But I try to explain to them that as a business owner, I don't want to name my business that. So it could be a big business. But, back in the 70s, I collected beer cans. And the cheapest beer can you could buy was the one that said beer on it. It was a white can and said beer. And that's like saying that home protection is better than Ring. Now, Ring's not a great example, but if I'm a home protection company, I'm probably not going to be called Home Protection. I'm going to have a creative name like Door to Door or Door Pro. I'm just making things up. But in general, they're looking for catchier, brandable things that represent what they're going to do. And so I'll say, I think the name's worth a couple thousand. Like, that's a $100 million business. You're right. But that's a marketing name only, and it's going to forward at best. So there's a lot of names like that. Virtual call center, that's billions and billions of dollars in industry, but that's not what the company's going to be called. It's a Salesforce. There'll be another creative name. So that's where you can get really screwed when you go to these auctions as a new domain investor, thinking that you're getting a category killer when you're not getting it. You are getting a category, but it's not killing anybody. So that's the thing. And they're exactly right. Door to door is, to me,
Except your chances of success.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go. Pet cafe is good. Again, we're all in agreement. We know gourmet marijuana is going to be a big business. I mean, you have to niche yourself into that industry, but that's not where I'm ordering from online. That's not going to be the end name to it. So, that's just really what I wanted to point out too, because I find myself getting emails constantly from people saying in the typo days or the type in days where you made money from parking, totally different story. But this is 10 years later or 8 years later, just not quite the same. So I think this is a great example of names that look good at first if you're newer, but you start drilling down on what's going to sell, and they're just not there, except for a couple of them.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
NameJet saved.
They are relieved. They'll be sending you a gold star in the mail.
For knocking down all the other names. That's good.
Alessandro.com? Anybody?
No, I like names, but I guess it depends how much it goes for, and depends, I think that's probably a relatively common name. But
I know, what is it, Alessandria Daddario? I know her.
But, and also I think, can it be also spelled with one S possibly? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. No? Okay. So yeah, it's definitely not my favorite name on the list, but it's not a bad name.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. This was a good show. What's going on? Drew, you particularly had a shout out that you wanted me to remind you not to forget, but you don't go first. Ammar, you're up first. Shout outs, either what's going on in your personal life, business things you want to talk about. What's up?
I just went to a startup conference last week, which was really fun. I went to HustleCon in Oakland, and it really, it was kind of cool to see the different names that people were using and the different brands and stuff. It's always fun to see that. But what was really great about it was just kind of inspiring me to kind of do something again. So definitely, like I got the bug again. I mean, I've had it, but it really, that's why I went, because I wanted to get inspired and kind of jazzed up to start doing something. So hopefully maybe next year will be the year and jump back into the game.
What kind of trends did you see in the startup domain names? Anything surprising?
Jump back into the game of the domain world game, or the startup game of doing like something a startup in the wild.
I think I want to do another startup.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what, but I want to do something. So
Ammar, how many startups have you done?
I've done a few different ones. I mean, and also within Thought Convergence, we had, we started up several businesses. So you kind of had startups within the business. But before that, I had done a few, and I've been doing some investing lately in startups. So I'm kind of getting involved in some of the kind of not management, but I guess kind of strategy and stuff. Yeah. So that's it's been fun. That part's good, but I kind of want to build a team again. And one of the things that was interesting, one of the companies there, Zapier, is a big company now. And the founder and CEO was there, and he was talking about how they have, I think, 275 employees now, and no offices, all distributed around the world, which is really amazing. And he talked a little bit about how they built that up. And I think that's kind of the way to do it now, if you can make it work. In some ways, it's hard.
Basecamp is even bigger. Basecamp's got even more employees, and they're also completely distributed, no offices.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. It's a great way to build now, if you can kind of work through the challenges.
Yeah. Interesting. That's cool. And naming trends, notice anything?
There were none of them had to Shane's point, none of them were called homeprotection.com, right? They all had different kind of brandable names, like Third Love was one of the people there. They're the ones who do the women's bras, kind of
Yeah.
and direct to. So there was a lot of the trends were direct to consumer. So there was
They just started running ads. I saw pretty risque. I mean, risque in terms of American television.
right, but that's a female founded and run company, and they're really trying to be the kind of anti-Victoria's Secret, and so that company, Third Love, right? That's an example of one. There was Ritual Vitamins was there, and I don't think they might be on the .co. Or actually they have the @Ritual handle, but I think they might be on the .co. I don't remember. And so there were none of the people had really amazing domain names.
They are on .com, ritual.com.
Oh, so they got the .com. I think they started with maybe with the .co and they upgraded to the .com. But most of them were brandables, right? Not generics like that.
Cool. Okay. Good to hear. Interesting. Yeah. Well, welcome back to the hustle, baby.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Shane, what's going on? What you got to say for yourself?
I'm excited because this is the time where I have free time. So the season, Illinois, the high today is 24. So it's time to start closing up shop. I had end of year with like 30 people. As a business owner, the hardest part is that end of year where you focus in on one person and look them eye to eye and kind of go over the year and say good and bad. It becomes really personal. As a business, you want it to be personable, but at the same time, you don't want to be too personal. And end of year is always a tough one. But since we had such a good year, it's a lot easier because you give raises and bonuses, and no matter what you say, and I call them opportunities. That's one thing my dad always he never used to say, you're terrible at this, or you're terrible. He'd always say, you have a really good opportunity to be better than you are. Just a really nice way of saying you suck, but there's a lot of opportunity out there. And so end of year, that means our business is shorter. I get to travel. I'm excited. It's a good time of year for me because it gets exhausted. I work my lowest hours of the year are 55 hours a week at the nursery. So it's converting back over to 30 hours a week. And so 25 more hours a week to do other things is huge for me. I mean, my week starts my day starts at 4 a.m. and ends about 9. For Drew, he's going 9. But it starts at 4 a.m. and it doesn't stop at any point for anything until 9. I mean, not 1 second do I get to read a book or watch television. Tweets are when I'm taking a dump or, it's if you see me tweeting, I'm stopping for 5 seconds and reading Twitter. But that's a terrible thought, wasn't it? Now you see my tweet, I might put another edge on it.
Yeah.
But it's nice. So I'm looking forward to a good winter. I'm running Boston Marathon. I hired a coach, so I got a lot of hard training in the winter. That's going to be tough, but it's a good time of year. Looking forward to it.
Shane, that is just extra meaningful, and I hope that the people who regularly listen to the show realize, I mean, everyone who comes on this show does it just because they believe in it. And I think for you in particular, you are so busy and you always make the time to come on. Thank you.
I enjoy it. I mean, look who I'm sitting next to. I mean, again, with Ammar, when I see him in person, it's still one of the most memorable moments. I think for 3 hours, my face hurt from us laughing and goofing around so much. I mean, it was still business. Yeah. It was legit, something that legitimately could happen. I mean, we talked about brandable shower caps and how, he had a domain and it was kind of goofing, but it was, that's what it's all about. Is it's business, it's fun, it's laughing, and a good successful domain investor puts himself in a place where he can work long hours and still have a great time. And I think I prove it. I mean, I smile all day, but I bust my ass constantly doing it. And that's what that's what I think people's life should shoot for, is you still want to work your ass off, but if you're not enjoying it, it's just not a good life, in my opinion. And I have a pretty good life, good family, good business, and good friends. That's really what you need. And I'm not saying that just to be a poster. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, you do a lot of work, so here's to you. Yeah, thanks. All right, Drew Rosener, what's happening?
So first and foremost, I want to give a little shout out to Mark S., who we reviewed his portfolio on the last DomainSherpa review. And I noticed that his portfolio was hosted on vintage.domains. And as a collector of vintage domains, I made a comment that I liked that domain. And he actually emailed me and gave me the domain, which I thought was a very generous and kind gesture. So Mark S., you the man. Thank you. Someday, maybe I will build a domain museum on vintage.domains. So let's see, what else?
You talk about give us anything on the big boy purchase.
So yeah, I mean, most exciting thing happening lately is we, Media Auctions, just acquired Clear.com and have launched a new, well, actually it was an operating thing that we had to rebrand because we sold the last brand. But we have a domain acquisition service that is Clear. And I think we came up with a pretty clear or catchy slogan, is your brand clear? Because I think ultimately, if you boil down, what is the purpose of the domain name? What is the value it brings to the table? It's about making your brand messaging clear with your investors, with your employees, your clients, everybody. You know, it's all about clear branding. So I think this is, you know, I'm pretty excited. I think it's the best domain we've ever owned. And I think that it, I don't know, I can't imagine a better domain for this purpose. I think that this domain is, you know, the value of this name far exceeds the utility that we're going to have for it.
You better, I was going to say, you might have to come up with another name for your acquisition company.
HTF.com.
Yeah.
HTF.
Hard to find names.
That's
hard to.
I'm wondering why we discussed the acquisition of HTF and not Clear.com.
Well, because we're not going to disclose the acquisition price of Clear.com.
But what about how it came to market, why you chose it, how the negotiations went? Give us something.
Yeah. No, not going to talk about any of that. Yeah.
Was it on the open market or was it?
Negative.
Okay.
Nope. Nope.
And how about this? Was it owned by Sprint as reported?
Yes, that's all publicly.
That's public, but it doesn't mean, just because it's public doesn't mean it's true.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm good.
Come on,
Nice
Ammar, one question.
Yeah. I like HTF better personally for your branding.
What?
Well, that's, yeah.
I predict Clear will be sold in 12 months.
No, I legit, like, you know, yeah. I don't even want to pigeonhole myself into anything, but I'm actually falling in love with this name. I really, really, really like this domain a lot.
It's a fantastic.
We're contemplating even rebranding the entire business to Clear.com, but we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, I mean, if
we shall see.
If you're gonna actually keep it and use it, then yeah, it would make a lot of sense to rebrand everything.
Exactly.
Like,
we're gonna take baby steps, and then maybe take the big leap.
And I think that's a real question that you've wrestled with in the past, not about rebranding, but about what's the cost of holding on to this domain versus and using it versus what's the cost, or, you know, what can you do with the profit if you sell it? And that's what
Yeah.
you've done with some previous, can you say a previous name or no? That,
No.
okay.
But, you know, on some level, you know, I think it's fair to say that, you know, we're a or the leading domain broker in the industry, as provided by escrow.com's awards. And, you know, on some level, it's like we're dealing with the top companies in the world, the top entrepreneurs in the world, and we're selling some of the best domains in the world. We're helping companies acquire some of the best domains in the world. And it's like, on some level, you know, I think Michael Seidler says, eat your own dog food. And it's like, you got to put your money where your mouth is. And it's like, to be honest with you, I've never liked the Media Options brand. And if I did it all over again, that would never be my choice of domain. It's not totally inappropriate, but it's not really applicable. Nobody knows what we do when we say Media Options. And, I've always kind of wanted to put my money where my mouth is in terms of, okay, we are a domain company. We should have a killer domain as our brand. And I think, you know, Igloo back in the day made a good move with that. I wasn't so in love with the Igloo brand, but, you know, they found, what was the slogan? It was like, find your cool. And so they made use of it. They made it work. And, and I always had a little bit of sort of envy of like, you know, if I'm trying to convince these people on a daily basis, these domains are worth 6 and 7 figures or 8 figures, like, you know, it certainly helps if you put your money where your mouth is, right? Like if I can legitimately say to these people, look, I spent more than you're talking about to buy my own brand, and I'm a freaking domain broker. Like, you're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. You should, or you're a super fast-growing venture-backed startup. You just raised $100 and something million, and you're on, you got over $1 billion valuation. How does it not make sense to buy your exact match domain? Like, so I think that, while, and I've had a number of people reach out to me and they're like, you're crazy. This domain is so much bigger than what you're going to use it for. Why would you do that? But, at some level, it does come down to that. It's like, put your money where your mouth is. And that goes a long way with your clients. And sure, could this domain could more value be extracted out of this domain in other hands? Absolutely. But
and I completely disagree.
I'm sure as hell going to extract a lot of value out of it in my use case. And so, and I think, I think that is, as you were saying, Ammar, earlier, like, saying to somebody, look, there's however many, 11 other people who think that this domain has real value. That's a great demonstration to somebody of, okay, I'm not crazy here. There's other people who think that this is right. And I think sort of in the same line of thinking, it's like, if I'm telling you that this is a 6-7 figure domain, and I'm telling you that you should make this decision, and I can say with a straight face, look, I made that decision. I don't regret it for a moment. In fact, I'm like, giddy like a schoolgirl about it. Like, I don't think I could have made a better decision. And so I think that goes a long way. I think that in any interaction you have, if people can say, all right, this guy is coming from a perspective of, of true empathy. He has stood exactly in my shoes. I think that's a very,
but I disagree. I think you have proven yourself as what you do, your company does. You don't have to buy a domain to prove that. Your proof is in the companies that have already purchased names for you and your ability to bring domains to the market that nobody else could bring. Buying a name and tying up that kind of money only proves that you are eating your own dog food. That's for you. As a person that comes and buys from you, you've built Media Options. You spent a decade building the brand so that people do know it, and that the person that bought from you 5 years ago can say that Media Options treated me. You have enough history. There's zero reason for you to put $1 million domain into your title. Your title is $1 million title, and you've earned it and built it. So to spend that kind of money is just for yourself and not for your business, in my opinion. And I've had this exact same conversation with some of the things I've done. You can do two things. You can build your name through decades of hard work, or you can buy your name and get in there and have a good name. You did the hard work. There's no sense in putting in the money. Take the domain.
Or you can double down and do both.
You could, but you don't have to. You just got an incredible name
I
that
do a
the
lot of
world
things
has
that I
not
don't
been
have
able
to
to
do.
acquire, and you now have it for sale. If that doesn't prove how good your company is, buying the name and showing that you know that is not going to do anymore. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I bet other people share that.
I think there's a lot to say about instant credibility. And, what we're always saying in domain sales is about being able to remember and share. It's harder to remember the name media options than clear.com. But I also think there's a huge trend in what's the solution is what you want your company name to be. And this is something I was thinking of earlier when we were looking at these domains. I forget which ones now. Oh, when we were talking actually about a chew.com, and you were like, well, maybe Kleenex or somebody. And I was like, no, Kleenex they want to talk about being healthy. They don't want to talk about a chew. And that's really everywhere in branding and in psychology, or I should say in marketing and psychology, is about the solution. And clear.com is a solution. We will be clear. We will clear things up. We will clear above the clouds of the competition. Whereas media options is more about the frustration and the problem. Not completely, because it's presenting an array of options. But I think in general, when people listening to the show are looking for domain names, I think it's important to keep that in mind and remember being solution oriented, because that's the final thing people actually want, the solution. So
solutions done.
I just come back to Jay-Z, as I always do. And as he says, sometimes you need your ego because you got to remind these fools who they're fucking with. And we got effings too. And, it's sometimes you just got to flex.
Amen.
Sometimes you just got to flex.
Is there a choice between flex.com and clear.com?
I've tried many times.
Okay, I think that is a fabulous note to end on, guys. I am a couple minutes late for a call. I'm so glad that you each take the time to be on here. Thank you. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.